Okay, so we're going to go through some things of mezuzah placement, okay? The mezuzah placement is very important because if you have the mezuzah on the wrong side of the door, or if you're missing a mezuzah, you don't have it, so there's a, right? So then you don't get the bracha because you don't have the mezuzah on the door, or you have it on the wrong side. So we have to first know which areas of space require a mezuzah. So the first section here is which place, which rooms need a mezuzah. Does this need a mezuzah? So this is obviously needs, it's going into a home. I should do this. How does this work?
Go to next, right?
How do I do? I just click the arrow, or no? Arrow's not working.
Click on it and then
Click on it.
click on the photo and then try the arrows.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, so here we have a garage. A garage is a room like any other room, and it needs a mezuzah. Okay.
Which one is considered the entrance? Like the
So we're gonna
inside the house.
So the garage is the room that needs the mezuzah. So the mezuzah is going to be going for the garage. So you're going to be putting on the right side going into the garage, right? We're not going to be putting a mezuzah on the going outside because you're not going. In other words, the mezuzah is on the right side going into the space.
But I'm saying, let's say that someone has a garage that also has another door into the house.
Right. So then you need every single entrance, every doorpost going into a space. It needs to be that there's a surah Pesach with halachic ramification of that. It has the surah, the shape of a doorpost, and it has to be going into a space where it's right now it clearly looks like it's defining a specific area. If it's just like a random doorpost in the middle of a field, that's not needing a mezuzah because it's not going anywhere. It has to be going into a room. We're going to discuss it. If it's just like supporting beams or just for beauty, then you don't need a mezuzah. But over here, you're clearly going into a defined space, and therefore you need a mezuzah on the right side going into the garage. Okay. Over here, you're going to some kind of like porch or whatever you want to call it. So this space needs a mezuzah. Okay. So you're gonna put it on the door going out. We're gonna see soon, but you're gonna put on the door that goes from the house to the porch. Now, really, the question is which way the door swings. If you push the door into the thing, you go on the right side going out. If the door swings the other way, then you're gonna put on the right side coming into the house. According to the Alter Rebbe, we go according to most of the time, not always. It's called Haketzir. Now, whichever way the door you push, it goes on the right side. This is like a rule of thumb. The Alter Rebbe, not everybody holds like this. The Alter Rebbe says no matter what, besides for when you go from the Rishus HaRabim into a house, there you don't go according to Haketzir. Because there it's very clear that what's the way you walk from outside, from the public domain into the private domain, right? So it makes no difference if you pull or push. But the general thing is, we try to understand what's the shaila here. The shaila is, what's the way you walk? What's the derech b'yascha? Derech b'yascha, how do you walk, right? You put your foot in and you go inside. Where are you going? You're going from here to here, or you're going from there to here. So the Alter Rebbe says that the defining factor is the way you push the door. If you push the door, that means that you're going from here into there. If you pull, it means you're going from the next space, coming back. That's the way the Alter Rebbe rules, and therefore we go according to that because we're Chassidim Chabad. There are other opinions that say you go from the more chashuv from the less chashuv into the more chashuv. There's different things, but we go according to whenever there's a regular door, right? Sometimes there's no door; there's just an opening. So then already you have to figure out based on other things. But if there's a door, we go according to Haketzir. Like we said before, besides when it's going from a Rishus HaRabim into a Rishus HaYachid, when there you always go right to going in. For example, a main entrance of a house, for example, we said like the first picture, and then also let's say, for example, in Kornitz you have alleyways, and the alleyways open to the Rishus HaRabim, and there's a door on the side of the house going into the house. Now, if that door you would pull it, you do not do Haketzir, which means you won't put it on the left side. In other words, the right side where you push from the house going to the alleyway. Rather, you'd go on the right side going into the house because we said that when you're going from a public domain to a house, it's always on the right side going in. You getting it?
What about
Correct.
sliding
Yes, always. Rishus HaRabim goes always inside, right side going in. But when there's inside from room to room, we always do Haketzir.
Sliding door.
I'm sorry? Yeah, same thing. In other words, when you're going from a shared space, which is a Rishus HaRabim, right? You only rent your apartment. So if you're usually apartments anyway, usually houses, the door pushes inwards. But even if the door would be pulling the other way, if that's the first space that you own now that you're renting, it's chayv sadar, which means it's the chayv of the one who lives there. It's a very common thing people want to know. Like if you're renting an apartment, I don't care about my mezuzahs. The guy put cheap mezuzahs. It's his problem. No, it's your problem. If you rent an apartment, right? You guys are living in an apartment. Very often, it's a very common thing people don't realize, and they have to be very careful about. When you rent an apartment, You don't realize that maybe the landlord didn't really care too much to give you good quality mezuzahs because he was just getting away with putting the most cheap mezuzah that he could afford, that he could put just to get, just to get away with having a mezuzah there. You want to make sure the mezuzahs in your apartment are the level and the quality that you want, because it's going to affect you, not the landlord. When you're renting from someone, the mezuzah is going to affect you because it's a chayvus adar, which means the obligation of the one who's renting, not the one who is renting to you. It's the renter or the rentee. I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry.
1 second, so if you're renting, then the door even to your apartment from the building is always on the right side? Is that what you just said?
In the building, is it apartment?
Let's say you're in an apartment building,
Right.
so then that front door to your apartment is. considered-
Right. Correct. Exactly. Because it's going from the shared space. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Somebody who's watching on Zoom has a question. Does a door that's not in use need a mezuzah, like if it's covered or blocked by the door case, or if it's still?
It's a good question. You need a mezuzah unless you put a screw, and it has to be physically not possible to open. If you want to be part of it, it has to be screw shut. Having a sign blocking doesn't help.
And what about the workspace that? is-
Workspace?
Yeah, like,
You should need a mezuzah. Yeah, you need a mezuzah.
but is it? who's
You're eating and drinking?
responsibility?
Oh, the guy. What workspace? Is it? You're saying you're working in a school,
What about the workspace?
or you have an office space? It depends. I'm not sure what kind of workspace. You're working for someone else. You're working for a Yiras company. So it's not you. It's the Yiras company. I'm saying if
The
you
person who asked the question, let us know what you're talking
Okay,
about.
but let's say it's not a Yiras company and you have your own office.
So then you need a mezuzah.
everything depends. You're working for a Goyish company.
Yeah, working for.
You're a
Goyish
Jewish
company.
worker for a guy, so that's not Yiras. You didn't rent the space. You're working for a guy.
So you don't need, even if you have your own.
It's nice to put a mezuzah there, but it's if you're working in a Goyish office, so why should it's not your problem to mezuzah there? It's nice to put a mezuzah on your room, but it's technically you don't own that space. You're not renting that space. Today you work here, maybe tomorrow I might put you in another room. You don't have any balabadishkeit on that space.
Also, nursing home.
Nursing home, yeah. If you're a nurse and working in a nursing home, so then
No, I'm saying like people.
Not
A
your.
resident in a nursing
Yeah,
home
but
would
they
need
don't-
one on their door.
No, because they switch.
So that's already different. If you the halach is if you go to a hotel, you need a mezuzah. 30 days. If you're in a place for more than 30 days, you need a mezuzah. That's why camps need mezuzahs.
But the Rav said that they're always switching patients to different rooms.
So that's the difference. If you switch it, so you don't need it.
But it's not within 30 days, like.
Right. So if it's less than 30 days, then it's not an issue. Okay. Again, the shared area. It should have a mezuzah because it's a Yiddish place, but it's not your chiyuv per se because it's not really. If someone is in the building, you don't own that space. No. It's not your chiyuv.
How do you decide which way is right? Is it?
He said the way you open the door.
There's a door or there's no door. So that's the flow of traffic. The flow of traffic, the way you walk from the main entrance. You have to see what's the most people, how they usually go. If you usually go this direction, so that it goes on the right side going in that direction. If you usually go the other way, so that's the right side.
From the public space, from the entrance to the.
From the entrance, yeah. So if you, for example, a house and most people go from the garage, so then that's going to be the main entrance because that's where usually, for example, I park my car in my back of my house and then I come from there. So if I have a door, there's no door, so the question would be, what's the main flow of traffic? So I have to go from the back towards the front, not the other way around.
What if your wife comes in the front?
So it goes according to the roof.
770.
Goes according to the
for
roof.
you.
We're gonna get the elevator. Elevator goes the right side on the main floor and then ground side, right side on the ground floor and then the other floor on the right side going out.
I actually noticed that.
No, not a stick, it's a halacha.
That was,
It's a door.
that was a door.
I mean, it could be that it's only Darbanan if it doesn't have the shear. But the point we put them. So it's not a chiyuv, it's only a hither. Al Darbanan. Has to be a full shear to have a chiyuv. It has to be dal adal, which means like around 6 feet by 6 feet. It comes out to around 5,400 square inches. Okay, let's go further. Okay, so this doorpost is a doorpost. It has something on top, has on the right side, on the left. The main thing is on the right top side, top on the right side. And there's a Tzursa Pesach, and therefore this is going into an area. You need a mezuzah. This is going into a tennis court or a basketball court. This is a regular Tzursa Pesach, and you would put a mezuzah here.
You own it.
Yeah. Over here, it looks like coming from an alleyway going into someone's backyard. Okay? It's like there's some kind of like walkway going into his house. So this would need a mezuzah. Now, like we said before, because this is going from Rosh Hashanah into Rosh Hashanah, in other words, going from the outside space, coming in here, even though you'd be pulling the door to come inside, where does the mezuzah go? On the right side coming in,
Should be on the left.
which would be on the left side, the way we see here, correct. Over here, we have a doghouse or a storage, I would say more of a storage room. If it's a doghouse, you might not want to put a mezuzah because they might, it's just not, it's smelly or dirty, but let's say it's a storage room. Storage room needs a mezuzah. Question is how big it is. The question is, well, let's go further for now. Over here, you have coming into the house and there's like a little secondary doorpost over here. So this doorpost needs a mezuzah because it's going into the main space.
That.
Correct. The shaila only is how high do you put the mezuzah? Which, in other words, no, not how high. What's the how do you measure the shalion? So the halacha is that you go according to, you measure from the straight area. There's a machlekes if you go from the very top, but you start from the straight space. From the right.
It would be on.
The maskana is that you go according to the straight space, but we try to include both opinions, and therefore you measure from the very top. And if you can go according to both opinions, how do you go according to both opinions? If the top third is not within a tefach from the straight space, when you measure a third from the very top, you following? In other words, according to halacha, you're not allowed to put the mezuzah within the top tefach, which is around 3.3 inches. So we go according to the straight space, the straight thing. Let's go like this, right? So if you measure from here, and a third from here goes to around here, so you still have it. If the mezuzah can go here, and it's still more than 3.3 inches from the straight area, so then you go. But let's say the round part was very, 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 very round, like this, and a third from here is going to be bringing you down, like not into the straight area. It's going to go, let's say, into the rounded space. So then we just scrap the curve and we just measure from the straight space, measure the shalion, put it over here.
I wasn't following how good, and it was literally like fucking very, right?
It was what?
The height was like.
Right, that's
for a
the thing,
child,
like, there.
because the curve was like a.
Oh, really? Okay, that could be it. Right. Make sure that's not too low. Okay. Over here we have like a Pesach kitchen or something. So over here there's no door pushing or pulling. It's literally like a what's called accordion or something, right? So here you basically first you have to check to see if it's dal dal. If it's got the shear of dal dal, rights are going in. If it does not have the shear of dal dal, so then you put on the left side, which means on the right side going out, because it's as if the place does not exist, does not have the shear. If the closet, it's like a closet, which has, a storage closet. There's a opinions which hold that a closet which does not have the shear, we still have a hiddur to put a mezuzah there. There's a machlekes about which side to put it on, but we go according to the opinion that says that you put it on the right side going into the main space. It's as if it does not exist, and therefore the door is going into the main area. Depends on the shear. If it got the shear, then for sure. If it does not have the shear of 6 by 6 feet, so then there's a hiddur, not a chiyuv. Only if you can walk inside. You have to be able to walk inside. It has to be a room. It has to be that you're going in. If you don't, if you have a closet where you don't, you hang your clothing. So then there's no. If you don't walk inside it, like sometimes you have these closets, you don't really walk in there. Like there's clothing hanging. You could put you could go in halfway. It's not really a walk-in closet. That's the you walk inside. It has to be a room. No. Okay. Over here you see that there's no real porch here. There's literally like these bars. This whatever you call this thing here is right by the door. So do you need a mezuzah? No, because you're not going anywhere. It has to be a room. Like we just said, it has to be that you're going into a room. I would recommend they don't do that. Not safe. Okay, over here you see that there's a Pesach, but there's no tzuras of Pesach. A tzuras of Pesach by definition has to have that there is a lintel, a mezuzah on the right side. Not a mezuzah like this, but a doorpost. Mezuzah means a lintel. It has to be something sticking out. Over here, there's nothing sticking out.
But
Going out of a tunnel is not called a doorpost.
Like the one that had 2 entrances.
No, it's different. There was. You see, because when you're coming in this way, there's the thing sticking out. Is that considered as, it's called a Rosh Tikra? It's like when there's a square. That's called a tzuras of Pesach. Over here, there's nothing on the right side. You're going out of a tunnel. Going out of a tunnel is not a tzuras of Pesach. Going into a tunnel, so you're going into a tzuras of Pesach. So there's a rabbanon, there's a chiyuv of mezuzah, but going out of a tunnel, unless there would be like a thing coming out on the side and something coming down like this, without saying, oh, there's a doorpost here halachically, and it's going into a new space. Otherwise, like this, you would not. Yeah, if you added a panel on the right side, it would make it into a doorpost. Yeah, exactly. So it could be very correct. Over here, you're going into it. So like we just said before, is this a doorpost? It is, it is.
Out.
Because it's a Rosh Tikra. You're going into, there's a 95-degree angle, is that the right angle, 95 degrees? You're going into a square thing. Going into that, that's considered a doorpost.
Could you say that again?
Whoa.
This square, this thing over here, This? makes it into a doorpost. In fact, you're going into a tunnel. Yeah, you see that?
Let's go
Yeah.
on the other side.
This is-
Not protruding on the other side. I'll see it.
Yeah, it is.
This is the doorpost. This side.
Does it have a door
Because it
on
comes-
the left side?
It does.
Yeah.
First, the left side doesn't make a difference. We look at the right side, the left side. If it doesn't have on the left side, but has on the right side and on the top, then it's enough to make it a mechuyev in Mezuzah. So that could be a shy if you ask a Rav. You have to usually go to the right. Okay, over here you have a Tzursa Pesach only on the left entrance, not on the right entrance. You understand?
Do both of these need?
No, right side is flat. The right side is flush. Well, the truth, I don't see the right side. Maybe I don't see it. It's not clear. The right side looks like it's well over here. The right entrance, I don't see a Tzursa Pesach. I only see a Tzursa Pesach on the left entrance. You understand?
Meaning where the steps are, there's no Tzuras.
Correct. There's nothing protruding on the right side.
But on the other.
On the left entrance, there is that post becomes the Tzursa Pesach.
So then you don't put on a mezuzah on the right side?
Correct. Assuming that it's flush, if you just have a flush wall, there's no Tzursa Pesach. This entrance over here is a Tzursa Pesach going into the space. You need a mezuzah. Over here also, is this a Tzursa Pesach? Why not? But this is the top. The top is considered if the top meets the top. Oh, so this coming down
Okay, I thought
meets
that
at the
was the
same
wall of
place
that.
as this mezuzah, this length of this doorpost. So because this meets at the same place as this becomes the Tzursa Pesach and even Tzursa Pesach.
And all of them.
And the same thing over here as well. Yeah, it's going to a space, it's going to a separate area, and therefore it's mechuyev in mezuzah.
Even if there's no ceiling.
Yes, yes. That is considered a Tzursa Pesach. It's like a shower gate. Over here, do you see a Tzursa Pesach here?
Not to the sphere.
Nope.
No, not to the light.
I'm talking about the initial, the first entrance. The first entrance, yes. The second, the first entrance, not. The second one, yes. Correct. Very good. You guys are catching on. You see? You understand why? Does anybody understand why? You don't understand? Over here.
Is that
This was not necessary. There's nothing protruding here. It's flush. Again, if there's a flush thing over here on the right side, there's no Tzursa Pesach, nothing protruding. If it would be something protruding here, a little beam, should not be a Tzursa Pesach. Halachically, because it's flat,
So why?
you're going out of a tunnel, so to say, there's no Tzursa
So
Pesach.
why on the previous one was, previous one?
Here, you would,
said
this
was-
is the previous one, what?
Previous picture, we had like, it looked like a bunch of offices.
Because these posts on the right going in is considered the Tzursa Pesach. These things.
if the wall was even longer, then you wouldn't, but because that's the wall, that's where the wall starts.
Right, if this would be pulled out, and it would just be a flat thing going in, then you would not need a mezuzah, because it's flat here, so this bend turns into a mezuzah. Makes it as a doorpost. Okay. Guys, it's getting a little late. Let's try to go through this quickly. Otherwise, I'm gonna get in trouble. My wife. Okay, over here we have a doorpost, but it's not a doorpost because nothing on top. You see that? There's no lintel on top. There's nothing on top. And it has to have on top to have it. That's not a source of it. Okay. Over here you have something on top, right? Yeah. Okay, could be. Okay, I took it down. No, I took it down. Because the fishy one said that they should have one. Said,
Or the metal one piece, or
no, the wood is the opening and the top is the frame.
this one's open and it's.
This needs a mezuzah.
Metal's part of the.
Then it wouldn't need. It has to be stationary. Why? Well, you're coming, well, really, the mezuzah is gonna go on the right, they're coming into the property, on the other side coming in. And this is a Tzursa Pesach, the whole metal frame is stationary and the doors open up. Yeah. I'm assuming that the whole, if the whole thing swings, then you don't need a mezuzah.
The one before, is that.
This one?
top isn't that-
The whole thing moves, no. No, the whole thing moves, the whole thing moves. Okay, over here, the whole thing moves, there's nothing on top. Okay, so it does not need. Correct. Has it, now over here, is this a Pesach? Does not need a mezuzah because nothing on top, flush on top, right? Flush on top, that's not a source of Pesach, halachically. Is this flush?
On the right it is.
On the right it is.
It looks like on top is a little bit flush to me. If it's flush on top, it does not eat. I'm not really sure the Mezuzahs over here. But if it's flush on top, it does not eat mezuzah. The right side is a source of Pesach. Flush means it's just flat.
Right side looks like it's top.
Who's that? Hey, the color. How's it going? How's the top? Yeah, so the top is flush, and if it does not eat a mezuzah, so you have to know these halachas. In case your chassan is not so familiar. But your father knows halachas. Her father is a mumchen in kiyus mezuzah. You're good. You're covered. Okay, we'll give you some good mezuzahs. So the post on the right is a source of Pesach, but the top is flush, does not eat mezuzah. Okay, over here, what is this?
Doesn't need.
Why not?
Because it's flush on the side.
Okay, so it's actually hard to see it, but it looks like to me that there's a post. It's not so clear, but it looks like there is a post on the side.
Yeah, this is another one.
This is like a little bit of a post. Yeah, it's hard to see in the picture. What about over here?
Oh, yeah, no, you don't.
No,
Why not?
The right
Side.
side,
No,
the top.
The right.
no, this is it's not flush.
Oh, no, guys, look.
This is square. It's an edge. It's hard to see. I'm sorry. Okay, I blame it on this. Okay. No, it's not so clear. It's true. It's not so clear. We gotta get better pictures. Is this flush? No.
No,
This is actually going into. This is going into.
look.
It's meeting at the same point. If we need some mezuzah, yeah. You got it? Yes. It needs some mezuzah, yeah.
The right side.
Over here, I'm sorry, it needs some mezuzah over here? So the friend, if it's flush on the right side, it's not need a mezuzah. Does this mean a mezuzah?
No.
So why is it mezuzah here?
'Cause it's
People don't
neat.
realize, they don't know. People don't know, they see a doorpost, it looks like a doorpost, it smells like a doorpost. Or we went to people's houses and they have funny stuff. People can save a lot of money if they just put mezuzah only where they need. We have a lot of interesting mezuzahs. Yeah, this over here does not need a mezuzah. You see, this is now over here, they have the mezuzah on the other side. You see that? And it doesn't need a mezuzah on that side. So, if you're going this direction, the way the picture is, no need because it's flush on the right side, right? Now, if you're going the other way, if the derech halicha, the flow of traffic from the main entrance would be going the other direction, you would also not need a mezuzah, correct? Because it's flush on the right side. You're going out of a tunnel. Remember the rule? Going into a tunnel is a tzursa pesach. Going out of a tunnel is not a tzursa pesach. Okay? Well, only, yeah, you would need it at the beginning, only if that's a derech halicha. So you have to figure out what's my flow of traffic from the main entrance. If the flow of traffic from the main entrance is going in towards this enclosed space, so that makes the source of Pesach going, I call it into a tunnel. I'm sorry. Which part? Basically, yeah, explain it,
Yeah.
translate it.
If, let's say the front door is over here, and if the flow of traffic would come in here, so then you probably would need a mezuzah at the beginning of the tunnel over here, because that would be the right side of it.
I'm so confused. Where's the door?
There's no, you
I
have,
don't see it.
right now, we don't know where the front door is.
Which is why it's questionable. right?
This is why it's questionable.
So I'll explain like this.
Also,
Going into this direction, there's nothing coming out of there, this is flat, okay?
Okay.
So because it's flat, there's no mezuzah needed on this side.
If you're going with.
If the wave, the flow of traffic from the beginning of the house will be going in this direction, going into here,
Yeah,
there would be no mezuzah needed on this side.
right.
Now, what I was saying was, now, if the main entrance will be coming from another direction going here, so then this also would not need a mezuzah here, because there's nothing protruding over here. You're going out, so to say, of a tunnel, going this direction.
You're
You
saying
don't-
they're
you don't
both
from-
flat.
Where do you-
They're both not protruding.
Right,
Yes.
right, basically.
Okay, fine. That was so complicated.
Really not though. So once you put those up, you just push it down, rather than go on there.
Yeah, not necessary. Now, over here, you need a mezuzah, it's going into an enclosed area. Right, you see that? It's going into a tunnel. You got that? You get the tunnel concept or not really? Basically, you're going into, it comes down on top, and there's a wall going here on the right side, and you're going into a enclosed space. You go into a smaller area. So this is like a separate space. So you need a mezuzah on the right side, right? Now over here, this is supporting beams or just beauty or whatever. You don't need a mezuzah on this.
Does the Arab need a mezuzah?
An eruv?
Like the post and the thing of the Arab? I think I once saw that. I once saw like a mezuzah attached.
They don't usually
I
have a
don't think
top.
so. They're not made for entrances. They're not made as an entrance going into a defined space, just random wall, it's like a wall. No, it's not, no. I'm sorry? Go back, yeah.
I have
I'm sorry, when I moved to the farm, and I remember asking you this, and I still never got a clear answer. The people before me never had a mezuzah, but I have like a corner like that, but then like literally a couple inches later is the door of the bathroom. So technically speaking, it's going into the tunnel, so we need a mezuzah, but the problem is you're like inches away from the right side would be inches away from the bathroom.
The only thing that's there is a bathroom?
No, the bedroom past that.
Okay, so
Mezuzah would go right on.
there was actually the problem, you're worried about the fact that it's being exposed to the bathroom or the fact that it's a base shower to a bathroom? So I'd have to see the way it looks. I have to see if it's literally going towards the bathroom, it'll be then you don't need a mezuzah. But if it's some space away from it, then you might need it. It depends on the way the setup. But another what you bring up an interesting point. If there would be, let's say there'd be like a little space, which does not have the shear of a chiyuv of a mezuzah. Let's say if like a little, like you're going into this little corridor or whatever, and then 3 feet later there's a bathroom, and then that's it. You go into a bathroom. So the question is, do you need a mezuzah here? So the answer is no, because this would be considered a beis shar, which means like a entranceway going into wherever you're going to. A beis shar is mechuyev only if it's going into a room, which is mechuyev into a mezuzah. But if the beis shar is a beis shar for a bathroom, for example, so the beis shar is patur as well. Got it? So only if this would be a big space, then it'd be mechuyev regardless. But if it's a small area, so it's called a beis shar, and the beis shar is only chayiv if it's going to.
Small, beis shar, but there's bathroom on one side and bedroom.
So then
on
you would
the
need a
other
mezuzah because it's going beis shar for the bedroom as
side.
well.
Bedroom.
Yeah. Okay, so back to this. Does this need a mezuzah? These purple posts, they do not need a mezuzah because they are just supporting the roof. It's not made to go into a specific space here. If it was made to go because you want to protect from the rain, and it's like kind of like this is a place where you hang out when it's raining, and you want it to be it was made and it's like, this is like a separated space, so then it'd be a shad for Rav.
If you have a chair.
But usually this space would be considered, I would tell someone, no, you don't need a mezuzah. It's not really considered as independent area.
On the road.
No, so you need a mezuzah going to the house, but you don't need a mezuzah for this space. This is not a room. Okay, over here, it's hard to see what's going on here. So maybe we should just skip it. It looks like a supporting beam. So supporting beams do not need a mezuzah. Supporting beams don't need a mezuzah. Or beauty. Could we just supporting a beauty? Does not need a mezuzah. Okay. Over here, what is this? Are these supporting beams? Or this is really separating going into a separate area?
Like the water.
It's a porch. So it depends. Right. So it's actually, this is a good shaila. I would have to see and figure out with the balabas what it's for. I mean, this could be really just as a separate space, or it could be just what? Yes, it could be that you might want to put a mezuzah as a hither, just as an extra a hither, because it might be considered a separate area, and yeah, maybe. But I'm giving you the foundation to understand how a Rav would pass it. This is a regular chiyuv to have a mezuzah. It's not a deraisa, by the way. You know why? It's only mechuyev deraisa if it has a door. All these cases is not a deraisa. And important to know. Yeah, it's a derabbanan. This is like a random thing. I don't think it's a mechuyev. Now over here, going the other direction, going from the main entrance is the white doors over there, coming this direction. Now, if it's going into a big open space and it's kind of defining now, I'm going from these posts into a beautiful big space, so then maybe you might need a mezuzah. But if these 2 posts are just for beauty, so then beauty does not need a mezuzah.
But they are,
But
like
they
you
have
see
to
that,
have-
yeah, they have it.
No, it has a Tzursa Pesach. It does. So the question is, why is it there? If it's there to divide, need a mezuzah. If it's there just for yoifi and beauty, it is part of the wall, but still, it's still halachically Tzursa Pesach. So it depends really what's going on over here. If you're coming in this direction and you go into a big open area, so then I would think that needs a mezuzah because you're going into a living room, dining, whatever it is. So you would think that it needs a mezuzah. This is just like a supporting thing. It doesn't look like you need a mezuzah here. Supporting the roof. This is like a weird kind of entrance here, but you might need a mezuzah here. Yeah, you would. This is also just like it's not really a room. It's just like, holding the ceiling up. Again, this is not really going into a room. This, I cannot really see what's happening, but it looks like a regular going into a room over there. Oh, what's with this case? Over here, you have going into a room, but the question is, do you need to put a mezuzah on the posts or on the wall, on the right side? Yes, the wall, because the posts are just for beauty. Oh, here we have, okay, what is this? Who can tell me what this is? Emergency room. This is emergency exit need a, no. An emergency exit is not made to use. It's not made to use. If you, so the answer really would be, if you use it because that's what people use, so then you need a mezuzah.
You use it, but don't get people, yeah.
If it's used only for what it's meant to be used for, so then it does not need a mezuzah. If it's used, unofficially, like in a school and everybody uses that door, so then you would put a mezuzah there. But essentially, an emergency door is made for emergencies, and therefore,
But if
Potter.
you use, let's say, only during fire drills.
correct. So then you don't use.
Then you don't.
No need. Yeah,
This one I would say no.
this is not a chiyuv. It has to be straight up, flat down. There's no chiyuv. The same idea here. No chiyuv.
The tractors. would-
Do not need. Yeah, this is going into a house. I don't see the question. It's a pashta case going right to going in.
Double door, they both need.
This is a double door.
Last one of the ones. Yeah, but there's no.
There's two doors.
Closet.
One-
Oh, okay, yeah. So okay, it's a good question. There's actually a better case soon with double doors. The door which you use is which determines what where the mezuzah
But the white.
is the actual door, not the screen or whatever that is. It happens to be over here. Regardless, it looks like it's going into the house. So you put on the right side going in. But let's say you have, it's more common. The question would be, let's say you're going from the house to a veranda, porch, whatever you call it here, and you have like this. You have let's say you have a screen door going one way and the regular door going the other way. So it goes based on Hakatzir, right? We said the question is which way you push, and now the question would be which way do you do it? So it goes according to the actual main door.
Does this need two mezuzahs?
No.
No.
That's called Baal Taisif. You don't put two mezuzahs. You never put two mezuzahs. There is one case where you do put two, where some people put two mezuzahs, which is very strange. Rabbi Lokovsky, he told me that he puts two mezuzahs in a particular case. It's a whole shaila about a particular door where you have a room which is basically smaller than the shear, and the door, well, that's complicated, where the door pulls outwards and there's no window. So the question is, do you do Hakatzir or do you do Yimena Nichnas? So there's a case where basically it's not clear, so he puts on both sides. He told me that it doesn't on both sides, to go to both opinions, which is it's interesting. Okay, well, maybe we might get to that soon, but okay. So over here, this is a very, very good, very important thing to know. A lot of people make mistakes. You basically have the two inner panels move, the two outer panels are stationary. Where does the mezuzah go? If you put it in the wrong place, you do not have the mezuzah.
Right of the inner one.
In the door.
Basically, it has to go. Does the mouse work over here? Could you see my mouse?
Yeah.
It goes right here. Well, the question really is where you push. Let's say you push the doors inwards. Let's say you go into the house like this. Well, it makes no difference. If you're going from a Shus Rabbah, it makes no difference, right? If you push or pull. But let's say you push the door, so then the mezuzah has to go right here. If you put the mezuzah over here, you are not yaitz the mitzvah, because this is not the doorpost. This is stationary. And this is very often people make a mistake. Very important to know. This is probably, I would say this is the most common error people make, that they don't realize. They think that this is the part of the door and they put it over here. The doorpost over here? No, the doorpost is here. And we find it also?
You put it in the inside over there, because it looks like it pulls
out.
out.
You could put it on the other side. Yeah, you could, yeah. There's two different opinions, and you could do either one. You could either put it within 3.3 inches on the surface over here, and your yaitza it has to be within 3.3 inches. If it's more than 3.3 inches, it's not on the doorpost, because over here you're putting it on the outside, but you have no choice. So we say within 3.3 inches, within a tefach, is still considered on the outside, on the doorpost. If you could put it on the other side, in the doorpost, on the actual doorpost itself, that's probably better. Okay, let's go right here. There's a very common case where you have sliding doors. Okay, sliding doors, and then the panel on the right side stationary, and this door moves. So a lot of people put it all the way on the right. Sometimes you have to put it on the inside, whatever. It's the same concept. Let's go right there. You have sliding doors, so you got to make sure it's, you don't want to don't put it on the right side of the stationary panel. It has to be on the left side of the stationary panel.
What if those outer doors?
So here's what you-
they're actually doors, but they were never really used. You know, types of like they're pegged down, no one really opens them.
It's a good question. So it has to be locked. It has to be screwed down. If it's just locked, because like you use practically the left one, but the right one could technically be opened up, and then you put it on the mezuzah on the right. So then that's counted as a door, and you put a mezuzah on the right side. But if it's screwed down, furnished. What is that? What is it? Boiler room, so if it has the shear, then yes. If it does not have the shear, so then if it has it, you put a broom there or whatever, then it's called a base outset, it's like a storage room. And a storage room is a hit to put a mezuzah. If it has a shear, so then you should put a mezuzah.
Has 2 doors, it's so annoying.
Right, okay, so here you see you have 2 doors. So one of them is like the what's it called? The further one out looks like a screen thing. The first one is the main door, so therefore you'd be putting on the right side coming into the house. You got it?
What did you say before about sliding doors?
Sliding door. Some people have sliding doors, and then there's a stationary panel on the right side. That stationary panel, if you put them as all the way on the right side of that panel, so you're not yotze, because the stationary panel is not counted, that the door finishes on the left side of the panel.
So where would you?
So it has to go on the left side of the stationary panel. Every case, sometimes has to go on the other on the inside. Okay, over here, this is a very common question. You have a door going up, going down to a basement, going up to the whatever, attic, whatever. Which side do you put the mezuzah on? Who knows? The answer is Heker Tzir. What's Heker Tzir? Who remembers? Correct. Basically, it goes on the right side when you push the door. Push right. We said any place you have a door other than the main entrance, it goes on the right side when you push. Only when it go from a Shosei Rabim, so then, in other words, the shaila is, what's the derech halicha? What's point A, what's point B? So the Alter Rebbe says that any other door besides for a main entrance, because the main entrance, it's very obvious what's point A, what's point B. You go from the Shosei Rabim into your Shosei Yachid. But if you're going in the house, between one room to another room, any room which you have a suffix and there's a door, so now that answers the question, because whichever way you push the door, that's going to determine that the way you push the door, you're going from point A to point B. So over here, the point A is upstairs, point B is downstairs, is here. So then there's no records there. Flow of traffic. Flow of traffic. You have to figure out what's the flow of traffic from the main entrance, and then the way you flow the flow of traffic, you go on the right side going in that direction. Which way?
When you're walking to the main entrance, everything is this way.
Correct, unless there's a door. The question is you have to first figure out, is there a Tzursa Pesach? And then if it's a Tzursa Pesach, which side? If there's a regular door and it swings, so then it's very simple. You always go Heker Tzir in the house. The question is, if there's no door, what do you do? Okay, so here's Heker Tzir.
Whoa.
A lot of doors, right? Okay, now the question is, which one moves?
They probably both movable, but some of them are blocked.
So I suspect it's not sliding. It's probably you probably push this. You push them. You can see there's like a bar, right? You push. So every set of double doors, you put a mezuzah on the right side when you push.
Yeah.
Oh, one second. So let's explain the case. Let me make up the case. Let's say you come from the outside and you push the door. Okay.
Both.
You pull. You tell how does it you pull? So what? Let me ask you. If you pull the door, what do you do? Come from outside, you pull the door. Where do you put it?
Just from the outside.
Come from the outside, right side going no matter what. Good.
But didn't you say that the first, the door to the main entrance is the real one, so that's the second one, not the first one?
No. You're mixing up. Very good. No. The door going from the Shosei Rabim is the first entrance, always right side going in. I was saying that if you have a space in between the first door and the main and the next door, which is going to be going into the big space, is not a dal area. So then the first door is not a chiyuv deraisa because it doesn't have the shear. That's what I was saying.
So this space.
Over here it happens to be, this has a shear for sure. It's massive. The shaila, what I want to get to is like this. Let's say the first door, it makes a difference. You push, you pull. You go on the right side going in because it's right side going in. That's the derech biasra. No, there's two sets. There's two sets by each space. The question is like this. The second set of doors, if you pull them, do you do Heker Tzir or do you do Yemin HaNechnas? In other words, do you say that because I'm pulling it, so I do Heker Tzir, which means I'm going to go on the right side coming from the inside going back outside? Or do I say I'm going to go on the right side going inwards regardless because that's the way I walk in here? The answer is like whoever just said the right side, right? You got it right. Not Heker Tzir, no, not Heker Tzir, right side. You do not, it's considered as, it's still the entrance. In other words, it has to make sense, Heker Tzir. Heker Tzir basically, again, is trying to figure out what's point A, what's point B. You came in from the outside, and now you basically have nowhere to go. There's no doors over here in between, right, in the lobby. If there's a lobby like 770 where you can go downstairs, you can go out, you can go from different things, different doors. So then you do heketzim. In other words, the door going into heketzim means that whatever you push goes on the right side. So whichever way you push it. So when you go downstairs to 770, I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yeah.
So there's doors. Yeah, so there you go, right, so coming in. Now you have a lobby. You go down, so you can make a left going down to the washrooms, or to the lockers, or you can go to the right side. You go to the right to the left, and then there's a lobby in between, and then there's the next doors going into 770 into the shul. Okay. Now those doors, I think you pull them. So the question is, do you do right side going into the shul, or do you do heketzir? Which means that you pull it so it goes on the left side, as if you're going from the shul this way. So in 770, because there's other doors, so you go heketzir. Over here, because there's nowhere else to go besides for going into the shul, so therefore you go right side going in.
Get on the left. Doesn't take
There.
it.
You're on the left.
In the picture.
So it could be that over here, there's another door that we don't see. But if there would be no door, so then this would be a mistake. Because you go right side going in no matter what.
On the left.
Okay, you guys want to stop or you want to go further? Should we just go quickly to the last little?
Anything
That's all.
specific you need to
So let's see if there's anything interesting. Hold on a second. 1 second. Let me just see that. Okay, elevator. You guys outside elevator. So the elevator, we said the first floor, right side going up. Want to go to the second floor, third floor, and any other floor, right side going out. Okay. I think we're done. What's over here? These are showing you wrong things with the mezuzahs in the wrong place. You see here, you go on Mitzvah, you see people have mezuzahs in random places. Yeah. It's not the right place. It's not the right side, not the right height, not the right anything. What do you mean? Oh, so glass door is a b'diavad situation. You put it within 3.3 inches on the edge of the edge of the door post, but it has to be within 3.3 inches. Like we said before, if it's more than that, you're not yotzei.
What's wrong with this?
The truth is over here is it's a little bit high. It's a little bit high. Yeah, it's a little bit high. It's totally like above. Yeah. What's over here? This is very tall. You probably do shoulder height over here because it's too tall. Oh, this is a very interesting case. Over here, you need a mezuzah. You know where?
By the small thingy, the counter.
So it depends. If this counter is 10 tvachim high, 10 tvachim is how many inches? Very good. A tefach is 3.3. She was listening. If a tefach is 3.3 inches, 10 tvachim is 33 inches. You got a maths. They teach maths over here. Yeah. So if this thing is 3.30 like this, yeah, this is probably a little less than 33. It's around 33 inches high. If this piece is this height or higher, then you have to measure a third from here. So let's say this is the thing. You put the mezuzah around there.
What? So the mezuzah.
Yeah, it's a very weird. It's a very strange case, but that's what's done. Because this is the door post, and this continues on, and it all goes to the same space. So, no, you just mezuzah.
Do I show on the screen with the mouse?
Right there. What? Yeah.
Maybe
Do it with the mouse and leave it on the screen.
The mezuzah goes right here.
So that's why.
Because this is where you go in. This is the narrowest space. The doorpost is the narrowest place where you go through. You cannot walk over here. That's why. So no, you walk this direction.
Switch. You know, show where you're going to the Rebbe's room area.
So
It used to be on the wall, but now they moved it to that like a little ledge.
wow.
over here is the same kind of case. However, over here it's similar. The only thing is over here, the top does not go all the way over. You see how it goes deeper in?
Yeah. That doesn't qualify, right?
So therefore it does not qualify exactly.
This doesn't.
No,
No.
there's no over, there's no.
How confused. He was like-
Confused? Which part? Oh, the architecture. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So because today's architecture is so complicated and so innovative and original, that's why there's a lot more shilas today about Kfis Mezuzah. Amol, you had what 5 kind of situations. Yeah, this house, this door, we have a room and this. And today they have very strange designs, and all the designs cause problems or make it more complicated to have to get the Mezuzah in the right place. Yeah. Kind of, it has to be mostly covered. Yeah, it has to, if there's only like a drop coming out, then there's no. Yeah, it has to be. It's a good question. I don't know. That's a good shaila. I've never really had a shaila that would actually have to ask that. Most of the time, it's like kind of good question. I'm assuming it has to cover the person. you have to go in and it's covering you. If it's not, it doesn't cover you, so then it's not really the doorpost. I'm assuming so, but I have to ask you. Over here, it doesn't, there's no doorpost. Over here, because it go, 1 second. Over here, it's flush in the wall, so I don't think it needs to be mezuzah. Yeah, it's flush in the wall. Flush. You like that word? It's a new word. Okay, good. Over here, yeah, but you need a mezuzah. Over here, you need a mezuzah. Right here. Right here. Also here. Also over here. Over here also. Over here, where do you put a mezuzah? Who knows? Where do you measure from? Shlish from where? From the very top or from the straight part? So halachically, ikra din, we say the straight part, but we said that if you could get it according to both opinions, so the matov. So you measure from the very top. If the shlish elyon could go without hitting the top tefach, and you can go into the shlish elyon of the very higher place as well, we do that as we do that. Same thing here. This is a regular case. This is a regular case also, whatever. Oh, here's a very weird case. You have a very wide Tzurza Pesach. Very wide. So over here, actually, there's a din. If it's more than 3 tvachim wide, there's opinions that say you can put 2 mezuzahs. Yeah. Yeah.
Like one on the outside and one by the outside.
Yeah. If it's more than 3 tvachim wide, you can put a mezuzah over here, put a mezuzah over here, and you put a mezuzah on the actual doorpost as well. Because it's technically 2 different doorposts. Yeah. Oh, you asked this before. Blas. Okay, so now this panel where it says royal apartment does not move, understandably, right? It doesn't move. So the mezuzah has to go right over here within 3.3 inches, assuming that this door pushes in, or that this is going from a Shus Rabbim, like a shared area, and it pulls, you still do rights of going in, and it has to go within 3.3 inches. Because if it's more than a tefach, you're not yet.
If both doors move, but you always keep one door locked.
So we should ask if the door is just locked, and you can easily just open it up, so then it's counted like a regular door nut. It doesn't change the status. If it's screwed shut, that changes the mezuzahs, and now that screwed shut door becomes the wall, and then you put it on that screwed shut thing.
It's very hard to get the mezuzah, but it still belongs.
Right. I would recommend you keep that door open and lock the other one, so that's why the kids can kiss the mezuzah, or anybody can kiss the mezuzah. So now this mezuzah is on the door itself. I don't know what's going on here. No, it's not, but it's in the wrong place because it's tilted the wrong way, and it's supposed to be on the doorpost, and over here he put it on the outside, which technically would be yaitza because it's within 3 inches, but
But it's too much to the top.
it's tilted the wrong way and it's a little bit too high. Correct. Yeah.
What's considered the top?
You measure the doorpost itself. No.
So then it's just the part.
The doorpost itself. Yeah. Oh, you see over here. This is okay. This is where we're talking about people make mistakes. No, the truth is over here. The right panel. Right. No. Right. This is the case. If you would put the mezuzah all the way here, because you would think, oh, this is the doorpost, you're making a mistake. You're not yaitza, because this panel over here, not the left panel, the right panel does not move. So the mezuzahs go on the inside over here. See where I'm pointing? You go on the other side, on the inside. Yeah. On the inside, you climb, you walk around, and you put it on the inside. That's where the mezuzah goes. Because people think that it has to go on the outside, so they're going to put it all the way on the right. But that's not the doorpost, and you're not yaitza. People have this over here, and they mamish are not yaitza. We have problems. I had stories, we like issues, and this was the problem. They were like, "What do you mean? But this is the doorpost." I'm like, "No, it's not. This doesn't move. That's not the door. No, the door moves, but the panel over on the right and on the left does not move." I tell you, this is the most common mistake that I find in Kriyas Mezuzah. Over here, the same concept, where I'm not sure what slide. Yeah, the left panel slides. So they put it on the left side of the right panel. Looks like it's in the right place, right? Yeah. Over here, what's moving? The right panel. The right door opens. It's the same concept where that if the right door opens, so then the mezuzah has to go over here, as opposed to, it looks like it's metal, wood or whatever it is. This as opposed to over here. You see where they have it, the mezuzah? It's in the wrong place, right? You see that? It's wrong. That's what I was saying. That a lot of people have it in the wrong place. They think that this is the doorpost. It's not the doorpost. Mamish, no, it's not counted because this thing doesn't move. I don't know what's there. This is a weird case. You know where the mezuzah has to go over here? You can show me in a minute. Let's wrap it up. This doorpost, there are some opinions that say that it should go here. On the wood.
Where do you say doorpost?
This is the entrance, because this is the entrance. This is the wall. On the banister here. Yeah, this is basically, some opinions say you put over here on the wood, because this is the door.
Up the
Not
stairs.
Into
But
the
going
dining
to the
room.
dining like
Correct,
that.
because this wooden thing is like the doorpost, yeah.
Wow.
Something you can put
Oh.
Over here, you're going into, well, it goes on the wood, right, exactly, yeah.
So it can't go on the, like, all the way on the right? Because
Over
that
here,
part
that's not the
doesn't-
doorpost, right? The shaila is about putting a mezuzah over here, right? The shaila, but still you need a mezuzah here also, yeah. Yeah, mezuzah needs over here as well.
Wow.
Over here, so this is like, this is a tzurus of Pesach, but people have mezuzahs here, a lot of people have mezuzahs on this. The question is the design,
Is that for beauty or? is it
Right.
just-
if it's there as a going in, so then you can put a mezuzah. I mean, you see people have mezuzahs here, I'm not sure, I don't know, it's like interesting, it's like not, I don't know, not so clear. What's over here? This guy has a mezuzah on the wrong place. See how it's the wrong place? Look, if you guys walk away knowing just this one din, it was worth the whole share, because this is something you're gonna bump into a lot. And it's very important to tell the person the pasha is not yotza. Means it's not on the doorpost. You see how many, this is just a lot of pictures of the same concept, bring out this point.
On the outside?
Over here, it could be either way. It has to be either over here or on the other side of the door, but it has to be on this area. On the doorpost itself. Same problem. You see that? The mezuzah they put over here, it's supposed to be over here. Over here, this is a sliding door, so this door slides, it goes over here, that's correct, over here. And then over here, it would have to go over here. So if they walk in from the other side, so then it'll be, yeah, you have to right to come here. So it depends. Right, but over, so, okay, so the question is this outside enclosed Rosh Hashanah? If it's a person's enclosed Rosh Hashanah, so then it's going from room to room, and you go there halicha, you go the flow of traffic from the main entrance going outside. If it's a Rosh Hashanah, so then, like you said, it goes right to coming in, and then it'll be on the other side.
But I have a question, how
Yeah.
is that considered doorpost, like we were just saying about. the
Which one?
doorpost?
Which one? The right side, this one? Why is it not a doorpost?
Because we were saying that it has to be the actual door, like.
This is a doorpost. The right panel moves. This right panel moves.
But it's a piece of glass on the side that doesn't slide. No, it's open.
No, it's open. This is open. The right panel slided to the left. The slide to the left. The left panel here is stationary, and the right panel now moved to the left. So this is an open area.
Oh, I didn't see it right.
Yeah, it looks like it's like an optical illusion a little bit.
Revolving doors, you mean?
Rotating door.
Revolving doors.
I know you're talking like going to like an airport, like those, like those.
Office door.
So, well, the door itself, the rotating door doesn't need a mezuzah. The Pesach that's going into the rotating entrance, if it has a source of Pesach, then there should be a mezuzah there. In other words, there's like a stationary. So there's a glass thing. So if that has a source of Pesach, depends on what it looks like, but probably would need a mezuzah, yeah.
So if this is a height.
Things what? Well, obviously, if it's gonna hit, then it wouldn't be good. You're gonna do it on the outside, so it shouldn't hit. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Slide.
What's the height of the glass? Like,
Shlishalim, this one? Which one? Regular third. You measure a third. I'm saying within the top third. Within the top third, yeah. Not lower than the top third. So over here,
Yeah.
so over here, there's different opinions if you count the outer area as the Tzurus Pesach or only the inner frame. They'll probably try to get it on the most narrow, on the actual doorpost itself of the door itself. However, if you put it on the doorpost a little further out, shoulder height, you would definitely not do Shlisha, and that would be impossible to reach it, and it'll be like out of height. It has to be where you see it. So if you have to go like this to see the mezuzah, there's a problem. It has to be like in a visual, So we try to put it on the doorpost of the actual door itself, not of the outside massive doorpost. Even though you would not, it wouldn't be not yotza if you did that. I'm sorry. So then you go according to shoulder height.
What?
Shoulder height. That's the thing. Yeah,
Is the inyan to see it or to kiss it?
see it.
No,
What?
it's
Oh, yeah, of course.
touch.
Why do we do that?
Out of respect, out of respect.
Oh,
You tell-
okay.
The Rebbe didn't actually kiss it. The Rebbe touched the mezuzah. The Rebbe touched it. Out of respect, you touched it. I'm sorry.
It's supposed to kiss the mezuzah behind.
Yeah, touching it. There's any of touching the mezuzah. The Rebbe was very into that children, when they go into the room before they go to sleep, should kiss the mezuzah. And I'm,
Like lips.
no, I mean, I'm saying to touch it, to kiss or whatever. Because then it reminds them that the Abish is in their room, like that the should bring awareness of the Abish with them.
So 1 second, so the Rebbe would just touch it?
The Rebbe will touch him, yeah. Like the Arnei Kodesh also, the Rebbe didn't put his hand to his mouth. The Rebbe will touch it. He will touch it.
Okay, thank you.
So what do we do?
Do whatever your father told you, whatever your mother told you, whatever your husband tells you. You can touch it. You can kiss it. It's either way is fine. Either way is fine.
Where did that come from?
Over here we have.
Doesn't, they're uneven.
So this needs a mezuzah only actually on by the door itself. And again, this is the same case. Second. Mendel, I'm a shear. I'll call you in. Let me try in another half an hour. Okay, so we'll do it tomorrow. No problem. No problem. So this, we have, it's the same exact thing that we had the other, with the panel and people make a mistake. The right panel is not the door. The doorpost is here, right?
Is there one by the?
We're done. That's it.
Do you have another one by the brick?
Right.
No, because it doesn't meet up in the same place. And also, even if it would, I wouldn't say this is considered like an enclosed area. It's like not really going into it's not really an enclosed area. It has to be that you're going into a space which is considered like a separate area. So you have to be able to have discretion to know is it a separate area? It's not. I wouldn't say this is a separate area. Whether it's like 2 feet deep and you're not really going into any area, it's just going into your house. Okay, guys, do you have any questions?
Is everybody okay?
One, two,
Prepare yourselves.
let there be light.
Wow, it's hard to see. Okay.
Wow.
Question, what's the
Yeah.
name of the sofer who is married to another?
All right, to who?
You know I don't know the name of the sofer who's married to.
I guess it's about to be.
The
Who?
Ukrainian.
Sefer.
Who's married to Ukrainian Sefer?
The name of the Sefer that everyone should be very.
The name of the Sefer?
Who wrote that?
His name is
Something.
What's his name? Yankel, I think. How do you know? You know what that? You made it up? Yeah, I think his name is Yankel. Iskevich. How's he gonna help you? If he sells his mezuzah, he's not gonna put under his name, that people know. He's gonna he even put out a video saying I'm gonna change my name, I'm gonna change my number, change my this, but he's a real crook. Okay. Very crook. You know what?
Oh, yeah, let me.
He tried to sell to me actually.
Okay, there's a big
And
shout
I
out
told him I'm not going to.
here.
Oh,
Malcolm
free
Saab.
advertisement.
It's on Kingston between Montgomery and Empire.
The first thing that we try to do is make sure the safe room are reliable. We're very careful about the safe room. We don't say we're Machan and I deal with most of my safe room. I know who they are. Not all of them. Sometimes I buy from a friend who's a Seicher who knows who he buys it from. But most of the time, I try to reference and verify who is the Seicher. Who is he?
You know about the one on Kingston Union?
Who?
Rabbi Klein?
I have no idea what he does. I have my own place. I don't know what he does. I don't vouch for anybody. I can only vouch for what I do. We try to do things right. I don't know what anybody else does. I'm sure everybody's trying to do. You have to just verify what's the standard. Wherever you go, you got to verify what's the standards of the place. What?
When he buys a random people, he only separate. It's out.
Would I only get an answer?
When he buys a random.
I don't.
have to ask him,
You have to
though.
ask him. You have to ask him. I can't say.
Yeah.
What does he mean by from random people? You don't want to just buy from random people. You want to make sure you know where you're getting it from. You don't want to buy from random people. You want to verify and make sure that they're reliable. A random person is not good, right? Like this Iskevich guy, who's a random guy. He sent me WhatsApp. He's like, "Could you? I have mezuzahs, very cheap." I was like, "Thank you very much. Who are you?" He's like, "I'm a sofer next to Hadich." I was like, "Really? Who knows you?" So he said, reached out to the shluchim in the area. I spoke to a few shluchim, I forgot the names, and they said, "This guy, we heard of him, but we don't really know him very well. We wouldn't vouch for him. He lives far away on his own in the middle of nowhere." And he kept on asking. I said, "No, I'm leave me alone. I'm not getting from you. I'm sorry." Now there was another sofer a year or two later who didn't just say, "No, I'm not buying from you." He started investigating into him, and he verified this guy's a crook. He was taking a bus like 10 minutes before Shabbos, and people were like saying, "This guy doesn't live 10 minutes away." So he obviously was going on Shabbos. And then there was other little like red flags, and he verified. And Rabbi Brian told me that this guy is married to someone, and there's no Seder Kedushin done, there's no paper that she's a Jew, there's no proof that she's a Yid, he's married to a guy, and the guy's not from.
Not wrong.
Basically, if he's married to a guy and he's living on his own, with no proof.
Which part of that added up?
How does this turn into fun?
Okay, so
Yeah.
you guys do not have to stay,
One
but
second.
we have some people that want to have some fun.
Quick pause before that. First of all, I want to thank you so much for speaking
You're
for
very
us.
welcome, you're very
We
welcome.
are very lucky.
Thank you for
and
pushing me
we're
to come. Thank you very much.
really-
You really want to know what's me or someone else?
It was
Was
my
you?
assistant.
I have no
but-
idea who it was, I was okay, so, okay. Whoever it was good, they pushed till they got me to come.
Baruch Hashem, yeah, Baruch Hashem, we're very
Okay.
grateful. We wanted to give you a gift on behalf of all
Cool.
of us.
That's very
So
nice of you.
thank you so much.
wow.
A good safer, a good.
That is
slippery.
very nice of you, I wasn't expecting any gifts tonight, okay?
We're very, very grateful, especially, and thank your
Thank
wife
you.
on our behalf. We're very lucky to have her.
Your husband's a good friend of mine.
Yes, you guys grew up
We
together.
grew up in the same class, going back 40 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem. In Living Chassidus, we usually take a selfie with our speaker. Are you up for that? Are you okay? Okay, so if you just turn this way, then we will be able to see you and you start stuff. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
We should have taken
thank
it
you
when everybody
so
was here,
much.
now we lost half.
I
Okay,
will practice.
yeah.
Okay, now you can answer questions. Thank you so much.
Don't forget Sphera. How does it turn into Sphera?
So it starts off as a big piece of height.
What?
It starts off as a one big square. And then it has to go onto a frame of like some kind of mold. Used to be that they couldn't do it film like this because they didn't have the technology or the electricity or the power to be able to squish a very heavy piece of hide into a vise like this. So it starts off like this. And then eventually it ends up like this. They keep the foot with a lot of pressure and heat. It gets now it's very firm. But when it's wet, so then it's soft and it's more flexible. So they squish it into this and then they squish it to this. And they turn into this, flatten it down.
How did that?
Okay.
How old is this?
It's like this, like this, like this, like this, then like this. There's 4 slots, always hollow, right? So the 4 compartments over here is literally 4 separate. It's produce, has to be separated. So you see in here, there's 4 slots. See that?
Are these?
No glue is allowed to be inside it.
The same slot.
Same slots. And it has to all be one piece of height. If there's a crack, the reason why these things were taken off the conveyor belt, so to say, is because of the hole. See, there's a hole there. Once there's a hole, it's not kosher anymore. So here you see there's like cracks. On the sides, there's cracks. Now, something that's very interesting. A lot of men don't know this. I'm going to share with you because we're here. We may as well just give you some education. It's very important to know that the batim of tefillin are just as important as the parashas. A lot of times, there's a lot of companies out there who make thousands of batim. There's big companies out there, big names. And when there's a very big production line, mistakes can happen. What can happen? Lots of things. There could be holes between the mechitzas. These are the mechitzas, like separation between the 4 compartments. There could be holes that you don't know about. A hole still doesn't pass. Has to be 2 holes next to each other. There's different dinner. What's very serious is the bias has to be square. Allah has to be perfectly cube. Okay? When you look at a bird's eye view, it can be as tall as you want. Alter Rebbe says you can have a meter high, but this way it has to be perfectly cube. Okay? So you're taking something which is like this, and you're squishing it into place. What happens is, with time, it can start fanning out. How? Because when you're wearing it on your head and you put pressure here, and there's no glue holding it down, it's not supposed to be glue. What can happen is it starts fanning out like this, and this starts opening up, right? Because when you put pressure here, automatically it's gonna like go like that. You get it? Literally putting pressure. Look what happens. See? So, and naturally, pressure happens with time. So how do they make sure that it stays square? So a lot of guys who are making batim do not do it the way they're supposed to. When they do it, they put glue.
That's perfectly square.
Technology.
You don't
They
have
put
to
glue
shape it,
tussle?
nothing.
They have to cut it down with heat, with
You could
pressure.
cut it down.
But you're not, so you can cut it down, but you're not allowed to expose a crack. If there's a crack on the wall of bias, possible.
Fine.
So what happens is they basically have to,
They do
keep-
shape it. That was my question.
it has to be square, and there has to be no glue here.
If they put glue tussle.
So now if they put glue in here, not necessarily. If they put glue in here, if there's a glue all the way up to the very top, halachically it's very problematic. According to Alter Rebbe, it's not kosher. Maybe there's some opinions who say that if there's glue, a lot of glue, it's still kosher, but you have it. But if the thing is glued up to the top, it's a problem because it becomes like one big block. If there's a little bit of glue, in halacha, in general, we go according to the majority, right? According to Rav. Achirabim lahates, right? So if you have a third glue, 2/3 no glue, is it kosher? Yeah. Now the Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch, Alter Siddur actually says for Chabad, he's giving an instruction for the Anash, that he says that what happens is when they make the bias, do we see the ring over here? Maybe no. Over here we see more. Also not. I didn't bring the one else. Okay. You see over here, on the bottom over here, there's like grooves by the four. See these grooves here, which basically go below this line. There's grooves because of the folds. So there's grooves. How do they keep it? The bias should be stay like this. They put glue underneath. They stick the glue down in here, inside, and then they squish it down, and then it holds. The problem is the glue could rise. If the glue rises, you got a problem. Rise a little bit, so the belt says, okay, not a big deal. Ruby put this, that's fine. If the glue rises a lot, so then according to all opinions, it's a problem. Now Alter Rebbe comes along and says, and Siddur, we don't want any glue. We want it to be prudes legamri, which means that it should be separated all the way down to the bottom. Meaning Chabad, no glue at all. We're very macro about it. That all the way down to the tetura, the whole entire ktsitza, this is called a ktsitza, the entire thing should be without any glue. Now if you have a knife over here, you guys have a knife? No, a sharp knife, no? That's not urgent, but if you have, I can show you. And we can test to see if it's a prudes. I highly doubt it.
So
Now, a lot about this. So when we check tefillin in the office, people come to us check tefillin all the time, right? So what do? We gently see if it's prudes by putting in a blade, and we check a little bit to see, is the knife going down? What happens? There's two scenarios, or three scenarios. Or really two?
That's gonna be the sharp tip.
Yeah, very thin and sharp. Now, what happens is, if scenario number one, the blade goes down nicely and you feel that's prudes, very nice. You can feel.
After you take out the parchment?
No. It's you're not hitting the parchment. The parchments are in the holes.
Oh.
It's in between. You're not hitting it. People don't realize. Yeah, it's in between. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Try and see what happens. You watching? So there's a lot of glue in here. See, this bias is not a good quality bias. Glue, which means that whoever had this bias, it probably wasn't yours. This probably just from them. See that? You hear like glue? That's not put together. It's junk. Or it wasn't made modedik. It's cheap.
So how do you ensure that it stays together without glue?
Should I get this out without hurting anybody? So that's the trick. The batamachers have to have techniques and have to know what they're doing. That's their problem. I gotta be buying from a batamacher who's reliable, a good batamacher. Now, so okay. One scenario is what just happened now. We put it down, it didn't really go very well. Now I'm not gonna do it to someone's film, smash it down the way, it's gonna ruin the bias. Very good chance of ruining the bias. I don't do that. We do it a little bit, like this. Oh, we feel it's separated, very nice. Like this, a little bit. It goes now here. I feel there's glue. What I'll do is tell the customer, you got glue in your bias. Prudes, not prudes the gamma. The guy might tell me, oh, but I want to prudes the gamma. I say, okay, well, I don't want to ruin your bias. Should I try to get it down more? Yeah, go do it. Try. Sometimes it works and it comes out fine. You know, nichnas b'shalom, that's a b'shalom. Sometimes I tell it it's not going, it's stuck. So either you want your bias to be prudes, ruby prudes, or you want to switch it up to. You understand now? Sometimes you put the knife here, and literally you cannot get by even like a millimeter. It doesn't go. You're literally hitting a wall. Could be for one or two reasons. Either it's glued up all the way, and if it's glued up all the way, that's a problem in itself. Or because, and more of a serious, it's not more serious. It's another whole thing. It's called that the line over here is not really representing the true division of the bias. It's called a mechitza mezuyefes. It's a fake line. Okay, what happens when they make the bias? This bias, right now you see separations. The bias basically was perfectly flush. Back to that word, flush. You like the word? Literally, we're talking about a thick piece of hide. They flattened it down. These the three lines here, you don't see them. Literally, it's like flat. You don't see nothing. How do you get to see these lines? How do you see these lines? This is not natural. This, after they finished making the bias, they took a pin, a matzea, and they took a ruler, and they went like this.
Oh my God.
Now, if those lines, which are just like kind of created lines, don't reflect the real division of the bias, what do you end up with? Partial bias. So now we're talking about batim, we're making thousands of batim. And not always, look, you see how we're talking natural stuff here. Not always is one division the same size as the other one. But when you look at the bias, very often it looks perfectly beautiful. Sometimes it can be fake lines. And I saw there was a Chabad guy in Crown Heights, lives right next to my office, came to my office a few years ago. And as we usually do, we check the printers a little bit. Now, a lot of surfing don't do that because they don't want to win the touch the bias, Chazaka, Mises, above Mises. Check to see. The Rebbe says in English, if you check his film, check the bottom, the mitzvah, whatever you can. Obviously, you can't check if the guy was Jewish because you don't know if cracks under the paint. But there's a certain thing that you could check. You got to do it. So we checked this guy's bias. We do it to everybody. And literally, what happened was we went over here. We went like this a little bit, and all of a sudden, a line opened up over here. Started crackling, and opened up another. It veered away from this line because it was a fake line. So what we did was we exposed, that we revealed the mechitza, the real mechitza, the real separate, the real division.
Oh my God.
You understand what we're saying? So again, it could either be because it's glue, or it could be because it was a fake line. So what we do is we always check to see. That's fine. That's okay. It's not so pretty, not so nice, but it's kosher.
You were saying about if after the tefillin is used and the pressure and then the
Full
holes
compri-
start fanning out like that.
Yeah.
And then you got into like how the glue or not glue. So that happens to all tefillin, that eventually it's gonna
It
open
doesn't
up?
have to happen. If the bias was made, the truth is,
Like,
fi-
do
40,
people
50
place it after? tefillin
sometimes
is
if
used?
things happen and things could happen with time, yeah, so you might want to change it, but sometimes you lose the ribua, sometimes it could be corrected, sometimes not, it's complicated, depends on the situation. But it used to be that the Batanach didn't really know how to make it, and they would be relying on the glue. So they'd be putting glue, and they're relying on it, and the Ruby brothers, the Babich Batanach officially were supposed to be careful about it, because the Chabad were makar about it, but some of the Batanach didn't know what they're doing. So they were putting glue here, and it was going up, and they were, shtick. Today already, the Batamachos know techniques, how to build that the pressure should be going inwards, so therefore you don't need to have glue, and it's holding nicely without having glue.
What do you do in all the news?
Right.
150 years ago, they didn't even have gases. They didn't have this kind of bathroom. They used, it's called dakas, like the Rebbe's film, wasn't this? You see the Rebbe's film, were more like wavy, not as sharp, not as, so to say, pretty physically. Like it wasn't so perfectly sharp because it wasn't,
I thought
it
you
was
said-
made, doesn't say it has to be pointy, where you have to hurt your finger when you're like this. It has to be square. Rebbe's bias, I mean, my tefillin dakas also like the Rebbe's. I got it from Yossi all the time, he makes dakas. Doesn't say it has to be sharp edges, it has to be square. So the Rebbe's tefillin was square, but just it wasn't sharp to the T. Still halachically 100% fine. It was still square, just that it's not 100% sharp like that.
What's
Like
minus
rounded
percent of
edges?
darkness?
The mile of dakas is that it could be shchutas shlil.
That could be what?
It could be shlil, which means that it's from a baby, a fetus.
Okay.
It's basically from a very small, like an animal which never went out into the world. And the halacha says that there's two milas. One is because it says it never had a relationship, and also that it never did. And it says also maybe Tom. I don't remember. There's another reason it didn't. Like more spiritual. It never came into the world. So there's a certain spirituality over here with the thing. So Shulchan Aruch says it's a mila to have shlo. And shchutas shlo is a milos, but you can have shchutas for this as well. But the mile of the dakas, it could be a shlo. You can't have shlo for this
Like, why aren't they being produced as, like, why are they?
because no one makes them. There's only one guy that does it. His name is Yossi Altan, and
Is it because it's harder to make, or?
there's not the demand for it.
Lots-
There's not a demand for it. It's less. It doesn't last as well. Like if it falls, give it to a kid, by mitzvah boy.
So the height is
It's not
different?
recommended. You can ruin it. You can't fix it. Either. Physically, it's not as strong. The gas is. Look at this. Look at
It's
the
the
height.
durability.
The durability, yeah. Dakas is very delicate. I have it, but it's very thin. The whole thing is like this thin on the bottom. So if you're schwitzing a little bit and you're not careful, it can lose the ribua much quicker. It's much more delicate.
But how do you think the block?
Is there a way is there a way
This time?
to, like, if it like spreads out, fans out, is there a way
Could
to
you
like?
fix it?
Reshape
Yeah.
it?
There are techniques, but without putting glue in, which is not ideal. It's very hard that it should be a long-lasting solution. There's a way of doing it. There's like a trick that Abba Tanaka once told me. I'll show it to you. Over here, see this? Look, when you put pressure over here, the bias goes this. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you do pressure the other way?
What?
How do you how do you make it that the pressure should go the other way? So what they do is if you slice out from here a little bit, make a little round, take out that, and then you put glue in here and you squish it down this way. You put pressure in the middle here, so now it's going to put pressure pulling inwards. Got that?
No.
Basically,
They use physics.
if you take out
Yeah.
some physics, yes. If you take someone told me it's interesting. But again, it's, you're gonna check it till next time, it's gonna,
But it does.
if you take out a little bit of the height over here, slice out some of this, make a little round dome.
Yeah.
From the inside, you take out this piece of height here, and you press this down very strong, what's gonna happen?
Putting pressure in the middle.
If you put pressure in the middle, what's gonna happen? Right now, you cannot put pressure in the middle, because there's nowhere to put pressure. But if I was to take out some of this part, and I put pressure, very strong pressure in the middle, what's gonna happen? It's gonna push this in.
How did they become black?
With paint.
No, they're not paint.
I'm sorry?
About like 200 years ago, 1,000 years
Is it
ago.
paint? They have paint there also, they pay black paint, they take, they would make it from, from natural stuff. Yeah.
But it has to be black.
Yeah, the halacha mashon sinai with tzuos have to be black. The bias, it doesn't have to be black halacha mashon sinai. Now, the Rebbe says it's a mitzvah to be black, but it's not makiv. So if someone's bias is not black, it's yotze.
What's
If the
tzua?
strap, the strap,
Strap.
if the strap is not black, it's halacha mashon sinai, not yotze.
And how does that turn black? Also from paint?
Today there's black and double-sided black, there's sofer and black, that's it.
So I don't understand, how does it stay together without glue? How do the 4 parts stay together?
Which 4 parts? These?
Yeah,
It's like.
So they put pressure, they build it up in a way that it should be pressure towards the inside. And they put glue on the bottom, there's glue here. There is glue on the bottom, they put glue here in the crevices, and then they hold it down for a few days and then it holds, yeah.
Could the paint hold it, like, could the paint act
Paint-
as glue?
paint-
Like when you're,
It doesn't really hold. It could be like. You could go like this and you hear like a little click and the paint is just like this, but it's not really, that's not glue. Paint is not strong.
thank you so much.
Very welcome. You guys get a good crash course because a lot of guys don't know half the stuff I just said, by the way. So when you get married, Mr. Shem, you'll give your husband a lesson. I'm sure your husband has no idea what all these things that I said. Not your husband, you're a husband. So.
I've heard the word, I've heard some of these words before now.
so if
Yeah.
you're serious, they have to be completely black, like not even fade, like there can't be any spots of white or anything like.
It's a good shot. If that's a spot, if it's still considered black.
On one side, is there also something about it, the black side always showing, like, black side facing up?
Also, you wanna speak about the.
Speaks about that, more about the Mesapach, but it's not. The main thing is that it has to be black, and if there's a little tiny speck of dust of white, that's not a problem. If there's a white missing paint, substantial amount, or if you have any white on the Ritzua, it's a halacha mashum sinai, so you don't take chances, you always go the chumrah. It's not a derabbanan, so they're right, so it's mamash a serious thing. So all these different things we're discussing is really that you should realize that there's a lot going into it, and it's very important to make sure that everything gets checked as much as possible. And if you're ever buying things, make sure that it's done right. There's a lot of details here. 99% kosher is 100% possible.
How some film can be like very, very tiny.
And there's a very talented sefer. Today, it's not so common, but they have Sfarad that way very small tefillin. In the Holocaust, you had
No, yeah.
to hire
teeny.
them. It's very hard to write very small, but you have sefer who are very talented who could do it.
Not just
It's
the
definitely more difficult
top,
to-
it's also the.
Everything has to be small, but the most difficult part is the parshas to write the shayah and then to make it tiny and halachic with all the details and all the crowns and the kotzi ben. It's very, very hard to write that small, but you have a very skilled.
More
sefer.
talented than those days.
Yeah.
They use
They
the
were
braids
scribes,
more.
they had to- Yeah.
They use the
didn't
braids
take-
more. They didn't have ears planned their phone.
That's so much.
Is there anything that we should know about how to, like, treat the children around, like, is it the same as sparring, is there anything like extra?
Sparring. There's no comparison. The kedusha of tefillin and the sevatera to go sevatera, tefillin and mezuzah. I love the kedusha. So sevatera is obviously the highest. Tefillin and mezuzah is much more higher level of kedusha than a sefer. Sefer you can put in gnizah, you put it. Tefillin mezuzah has to be put in cheres, plastic. There's a whole different. It's not a same thing as a printed sefer.
What is I've heard like my brothers say in the past, like if you drop tefillin, you have to fast for 40 days or something. Like practically, what if something happens?
Different answer, different days about it. If you drop tefillin, I wouldn't fast 40 days. I wouldn't take that risk, but you should do tshuva. I don't know.
And also in regards to women.
Ask her off.
Women at different stages. What women touching tefillin, touching.
So it says, as a veter, you don't want to bring it to the women's section if they're, at certain stages, but tefillin mezuzahs is the same thing. I mean, women kiss mezuzahs. Maybe it's covered up.
Touching the parchment itself, like an open mezuzah like that.
It sounds like they might be for the same reason as sevatera, in Nido, but I'm not sure if mezuzah and tefillin is the same thing. I don't know either. Could be. I'm not sure. If tefillin is the same as Sefer Torah, I would assume it is. I don't see why it would be different, even though Torah has a higher level of kedusha than a tefillin mezuzah, but it's I guess it's inside the kedusha, and I don't remember learning those halachas so much. I know Sefer Torah says that you don't bring it to the, the inside this reason, but I don't know.
That was if it falls on the floor.
Sorry?
That was if it was if it falls on the floor.
So you kiss it.
As a
I don't think it's
college,
not
we
a
talk about, as a college, we
yeah,
talk about,
yeah.
we
I think
need
I
not
got
to
it,
look
I
at
got
the
it.
parchment of
That's
the
fine.
Sefer Torah directly.
Do you suggest that I get a mezuzah? The parchment itself?
Correct, that's the part I don't know.
But what is that?
Meaning when they do.
Even like if it's through glass.
If someone's saying you should have a mezuzah, you could pick it up.
Now what?
I'm saying like you could pick it up, you could.
Right, or if you walk.
Do you suggest
So
that
that,
I get a
yeah, that's
new
okay.
mezuzah?
Based on that, I haven't.
They said that the parchment was cracked,
Doesn't
they
say.
fixed it.
Parchment was cracked or the letters were cracked?
They said the parchment was
It's better,
cracked.
so here's
Depends
the
whether it
thing.
was cracked.
And
It's
I don't even know
better
which
not
mezuzah was, because they mixed it up.
Definitely not the cut.
You bring it to us, I can tell you what I
If
see.
it's going
Should I
to
read
be
that?
like an
It depends on a lot of things, how badly, where was it cracked, on the side, on that.
Anything.
So you can bring it to us.
sensitivity to
Should I
not.
recheck it? All, because it's all of it, I don't know which one
I don't
it
want
is.
to tell you to spend money, but I mean.
So for example,
Definitely want
if
mezuzahs to
there's
be
a
done right, I don't know.
If it's your son's bar mitzvah.
The next time you want to check your mezuzahs, you can bring it to me.
Like, don't avoid going to shul, like. Go to shul.
Well,
but
it's
not
serious
to look
stuff.
directly.
Very serious stuff, yeah. I can tell you a lot of stories, but I gotta go to sleep. My wife might not be happy if I stay for too much longer. But other than that, if you have any questions, we have another few minutes. Any questions?
Do you also like make the parchment?
I don't make it myself. We would get it from companies that have shade, and I don't know.
Do you make the bottom?
By us, no, we get it from reliable places. There's different bathroom that we trust, the lavatories. And the Hechsher.
Is it okay if you put the sticky thing on the back? The
What?
mezuzahs, or better not?
Oh, yeah. we
What do you
forgot to ask
mean?
about that.
Someone told
Nailed,
me they're nailed in.
double-sided tape, how does
No
that?
problem, no problem with that. As long as it's kabul on the door, double-sided tape is 100% fine.
Taping it on from the outside.
Right.
As long as it's strong, as long as it's sturdy.
I'm saying you can take.
Scotch
regular,
tape like around from.
As long as the mezuzah is not moving, it's not allowed to be, it has to be kabul. So as long as you feel like it's strong, if it's gonna fall down with the wind, it's,
Tape is something that you put on and off.
no, tape, as long as you tape things down, that's just it. When you fix a safe. Not a problem. Velcro is a shiloh. Some people say Velcro is not good because Velcro, the whole point of Velcro is to take it down. But if you have tape, which is a strong tape, so then why should it be a problem? Obviously, if you put screws is gonna hold better, but I'm saying.
Oh, interesting.
It's like somebody once told the Rebbe was, someone said that, they have a gnave in the house, so the Rebbe said, that maybe you should check the windows if make sure they're locked. Right, so some people come to me and say that my mezuzah fell down, I said, maybe you wanna just put up a better tape or pull the screws. Just because it fell down doesn't mean that, that mezuzah is possible, I'm saying. Could we gotta just put up better?
Does a car?
You gotta get
does-
it right by, her father, what's your first name? Okay. No, your first name.
Oh, mine.
Ita, right. So Ita's father, your father's name, I know. I just forgot yours. Your father is my mezuzah placement helper, and he is very thorough when it comes to making sure things done right. Someone just called me up and said, you're very good. Toby Kasimo, he's like, your father was, he's one of the bottom comments, he said, your father was excellent, you could tell. Yeah.
Does a car?
He
need
broke
a
his foot,
mezuzah?
so he got him, he wanted to check his mezuzah, huh?
Does a car need a mezuzah?
A car does not need a mezuzah according to halacha is no chiyuv of mezuzah. However, the Rebbe gave Hira pratis to people, like how do you say, private instruction. Mendel Drizzen told me. Mendel Drizzen passed away already. Chaim Drizzen's father. He told me in 1970. The Rebbe told me to carry mezuzah, but it wasn't able to clothing. B'shmira, mezuzah protects. Yeah.
Or to have it in the car.
To have in the car. No. The door is only when it's a chiyuv about the mezuzah. He carried it to put it like he put. Like the Rebbe said to put.
I've seen
The
people.
Rebbe said, this is actually Hira plus. The Rebbe said.
It's like if it's like a bigger car, like.
Maybe a
bus.
house car.
Doesn't make a difference if you it's.
Oh, what about like a?
Cybertruck.
You have a- The Rebbe said that for Shmira, a person should have a mitzvah box and svarim in his car. Very
What
important.
if someone has a mobile home? They live in it or camp like in the summer?
It's different, probably different opinions, but Ikar did. I mean, if it's a movable thing, put mitzvahs. It brings in svarim about a boat. Someone's living on a boat, So the same thing with if you live in a car, probably not.
My sister travels a lot, and sometimes she stays in like place for like long enough. She like make sure to sleep before 30 days are up.
Wow, this was really, really insightful. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
We have that, yes, we actually have, it's his father who helps us with that. He works for us. Okay, great.